Chapter 18. Change is possible. We as a human race haven't been able to get along with each other. Well, this is something so obvious that it might appear that it wouldn't have to be stated, but we have to know where we are in order to get to where we're going. If we want to know where we are, then we have to admit that we haven't been able to get along and that we haven't known how to get along. First of all, many of us can't get along with ourselves, and because we can't get along with our own data, it makes it impossible for us to empathize with others in a natural way and to connect with them. Is it possible that there is something that we don't yet know that we can learn to help us get along? Yes, there is such a thing. It is found in acknowledging our natural perfection for short moments, repeated many times, rather than being lost in all our data. It is the one simple change in the use of the mind that's equally accessible to everyone, which allows us to get along with ourselves as we pass through the stages of life and which allows us to get along with others. This is not a passive form of getting along that limits itself to you do your thing and I'll do mine, but a way of actually feeling connected to every other being on the face of the earth and to the planet itself. What we need to recognize first of all is that unity and peace are important to us, and also that change is possible. If we think change can never come about, just look at the situation we're in now, then we'll just demoralize ourselves. But if we say, change is possible, and it begins with me, then all of a sudden change becomes very achievable. We share this planet Earth as well as the basic human needs for water, food, clothing, and shelter. We also have the need for health care, education, and work that will allow us to contribute our strengths, gifts, and talents, and we need time to rest, reflect, and play. We as a human race haven't quite developed the willingness to share resources equally. As it is now, the United States and Europe consume an enormous percentage of the world's resources, a percentage which is way out of balance when compared to the rest of the world. Through the balanced view of open intelligence, we develop the willingness to share equally all the resources that are available to us. In the balanced view is a natural sense of cooperation, a natural sense of wanting to share equally with others, and of wanting to make sure that everyone is provided for and taken care of. It is a natural sensibility that looks around and sees who might need assistance or who might need something that they don't have. The natural response is to want to give to them what they need. This is another part of the tremendous energy of open intelligence. It holds within it a natural empathy and sympathy and compassion, and these constitute the willingness to share in a very fundamental and equal way. Real world peace. World peace is possible, but it's only possible in one way, and that is through individual inner peace. It's not going to come about from an external source. It can only come about within individuals, and the simple instruction for bringing that about is short moments of peace, repeated many times, until the short moments become continuous. Why is this the instruction? Because many of us have no familiarity with the peace within ourselves. For most of us, a form of peace becomes evident because we've been cultivating some kind of positive state. But that's not what the practice of short moments of peace is based on. Short moments of peace is based on seeing that everything that appears rests in peace, whether it's a positive, negative, or neutral appearance. This is markedly and radically different from avoiding, replacing, or indulging appearances, or trying to cultivate peaceful states. The practice of short moments is something that is available to everyone equally. It does not require any intellectual speculation or dogma. It's only a matter of that short moment of peace being repeated again and again. We don't have to keep up the short moments of peace forever, because the short moment becomes longer until it completely dissolves the need to take short moments. At that point, the peaceful nature that's always been at the basis of everything becomes evident. Trying to bring about world peace merely by reforming existing institutions is not the way to go. The only way we can truly reform humankind is by people finding real peace within themselves and demonstrating to others what they have found in their own lives. In this way, peace can spread quickly all over the world. War and many of the other ways that people relate to each other are based on aggression, competition, and humiliation, and as long as we feel that these types of approaches are necessary, they will be. We have ended up in a world of conflicting ideologies, where nations war against each other in the name of their God. This way of being is not natural to human beings, and this is why people feel tense and uptight, even terror-stricken. When we make peace with the war within ourselves, then we can see how that can be possible everywhere, but we can't see how it can be possible everywhere without first seeing it within ourselves. These very much go together. Peace within ourselves equals peace everywhere. Peace zone. Human beings are able to bring about peace themselves, but it's not a matter of expecting some authority figure to do the work for us. We have to take responsibility. How willing are we to end the war within ourselves? How willing are we to abide in the peaceful part of ourselves that pervades everything? How willing are we to acknowledge that we already have perfect stability in ourselves? When we begin to gain certainty in open intelligence, what we're really doing is making ourselves into a peace zone. As communities of people that are maintaining open intelligence as their basis come about worldwide, they create very powerful collective peace zones within human society. The importance of gaining certainty in open intelligence cannot be overestimated because a peace zone, whether individual or collective, is created that is free of hatred, arrogance, fear, and envy. In some ways, human society has become less peaceful rather than more peaceful. Terrorism, whether it's physical or psychological, is widespread in human culture, and it's widespread because it's present within individuals. We're all familiar with the movements of hatred that are developing all over the world, but what we need to see is that we ourselves have had all kinds of hateful, arrogant, fearful, and envious data. We haven't known what to do with them except to take countermeasures by cultivating good traits. Cultivating niceness and goodness can be comforting to one degree or another, but that has never brought human society into a fully peaceful condition. We can know that we're taking the most powerful of all political actions by making certain that we are optimal human beings. When we become peace zones within ourselves, we become optimal human beings, and we enter into the optimal condition of humanness. When we call ourselves forth to become a peace zone, we are taking a very, very powerful political action. Through people informing and supporting one another, we have the means to bring about peace zones at the grassroots level throughout the world. If we want it, we can have it, but it's up to each one of us individually. It's so important for each of us to take up short moments of peace repeated many times, because by doing so we fortify ourselves as a peace zone where hatred, fear, envy, and arrogance are absent. You could call a person like this a wisdom warrior. Wisdom warriors create peace zones in themselves and in the world. It's urgently important to do everything in our power to create peace zones in all aspects of life. Give yourself the greatest opportunity for equanimity in your own life by creating a setting for yourself where it's easy to maintain open intelligence. From there, you'll see what it's like to live peacefully and happily. The more happiness you cultivate within yourself by maintaining open intelligence, the more naturally you'll find yourself surrounded by other people who are doing the same. To form community with other people who are cultivating open intelligence and who are free of hatred, arrogance, envy, and fear is a very, very powerful way to live. Resolution of hatred. Not everyone is willing to establish themselves as a peace zone, and that is just the way it is. You simply let other people be as they are, and when they want to come along and join in the effort for peace, they will. But until then, there is no use in trying to force them to do so. If people are angry with you or even hate you, do what you can to make peace with them. If they're acting harshly towards you, invite them to be at peace with you in the most appropriate way you can find. The best basis for resolving a conflict is that each person takes responsibility for their part in creating the conflict. Sometimes, however, people are hateful to others without any provocation. In that case, the person who initiates the attack is filled with negative feelings, and that is the sole cause of the conflict. You may have had no part in creating the situation, but you can try to help them come to terms with what they're doing, and that is best done through your own unwavering example of peaceful relating. By more and more individuals becoming peace zones and not promoting hate by hating back, more and more impetus will be given to ending this very painful way of living, where people hate themselves and hate others. The reason we hate other people is because we hate many things about ourselves. It is that simple. However, when we no longer hate ourselves, we will no longer hate others. Hatred is very ingrained in each of us as long as we hate certain thoughts, emotions, or experiences we have. If we hate or fear these things about ourselves, we automatically hate and fear them in others, too. We can't withstand that feeling of hatred within ourselves, and we don't know how to resolve it, so we project it outwards towards the government, the president, other political leaders, other races or religions or whatever it might be. When those things that we hate or fear about ourselves appear and we're tempted to deal with them in some way through a countermeasure or an avoidance, rather than doing that, we completely relax, and the emotion will eventually resolve itself. In the resolution of all these hateful and fearful data, we'll find an explosion of wisdom that we've never seen before. This is the wisdom of innate peace. Nothing could be more important than educating human beings about this means of becoming a peace zone. Non-conflictual relationships. To have relationships that are without conflict is definitely something that we want for ourselves and for everyone else. It is truly possible for human society to live this way. However, we first have to see that it's possible to be non-conflictual within ourselves and to see that all appearances appear in an expanse in which there is no conflict. Once we see that about ourselves, we become capable of being non-confrontational with others. We see that whatever anyone else's responses in life might be, those responses need not push our buttons anymore. Whatever is appearing is just whatever is appearing. For example, the feeling may come up, oh, that person does not understand me at all, so why should I even bother with them? But it is really excruciating to spend our whole life wanting to be understood and rejecting people because we think they don't understand us. It's important to see that these stories we have adopted are completely unnecessary. We could spend all of our life wanting to be understood, wanting to be liked, or wanting to be respected and looked up to, but this is a very small space to live from. If people come together who have realized that the nature of all of their experience is non-conflictual, then their relationships will be easeful and open because there is nothing in the way. There is no diving into personal data streams or positions of neediness and expectation. There's just complete openness, compassion, and love. In this way, the emphasis in life is no longer one of self-centeredness, but one of benefit for all. The non-conflictual ground of everything is already entirely beneficial, so the more we abide as that, the more we realize that the ground of our being is beneficial by nature. We don't need to try to be of benefit. It just naturally is that way. We want to have relationships that are non-conflictual, not just for a day or two now and then, but relationships that for years and years are completely non-conflictual and filled with love, clarity, joy, and bliss. Making this evident in the world starts with each one of us. Peace beyond all war. When we find within ourselves the utter peace that ends all war, we'll know how to build a human society that doesn't have war. That's the only way. The end of war will never happen on the battlefield or at the negotiation table. We have to develop an entirely new perspective in this matter. Some of us live in countries where we are forced to participate in war in some way because our country is at war. If we want to continue being a citizen of that country, we may have to make a decision. If we choose to not be part of the war-making effort of that country, then we'll have to take extraordinary measures that really take us outside the usual realm of choices that most people in the country are making. Some people live in countries where there aren't such overt wars going on, but even for them things could change at any moment. There could be some kind of extreme political or social upheaval. A terrorist attack could occur, or their country could be invaded by another country. We don't know what's going to happen next, and we can't count on any of the things we think we can count on. We can't count on our government, our country, or on the current state of affairs. We have to be radical warriors within ourselves, where we really totally stand up for peace in a way that is clear. We have to stop relying on wishful thinking and fantasy schemes about getting into some kind of idealized state of peace. We have to realize that what we are right now, and only by relying on what we are right now can we realize what we truly are. This is what is offered in short moments, many times. No matter what the issue is that we are concerned about or involved in, the most powerful solution is going to come from certainty in open intelligence. Our innately peaceful nature. As much as we as a human race might want world peace has been beyond our grasp. Instead, what we have today are new forms of war and new ways of dominating and taking power over others, either individually or collectively. We want to ask ourselves, how can I make a difference right here, today, in my own life? We can make a difference by connecting with our own already present inner peace. Each one of us has a contribution to make. In each short moment of peace that we take, we add a short moment of peace to the storehouse of peace that belongs to everyone in the world. In doing so, we are planting a seed of peace that will grow and flourish. Peace affirms itself, and when it is acknowledged as a natural potential within each of us, then it becomes obvious. However, world peace becomes obvious only in individuals. It does not become obvious through proclamations about world peace, philosophies about world peace, or political statements about world peace. World peace only becomes evident in individual human conduct. When we rely on short moments of peace, repeated many times, increasingly we have clarity in our thinking as well as mental and emotional stability, rather than fear and confusion. Great insight into our already peaceful nature as well as compassion, empathy, and sympathy are naturally present in each short moment of peace. We are introduced to our innate skillfulness to know what to do and how to act in all kinds of situations and circumstances. Where are all these wonderful qualities and characteristics? They are in our already peaceful nature and not anywhere else. If we don't know that yet, we need to make use of the practical know-how that is available to us in short moments, repeated many times. Once we identify our peaceful nature, it carries us through every circumstance. Our own peaceful nature is what we can count on, no matter what is going on. We could experience disease, death, hurricanes, earthquakes, or war. We don't know when the next challenging occurrence is going to hit close to home. If our well-being is dependent on not having one of these things occur, then when they do occur in our lives, we will assume that our well-being will be lost. What we really need to count on is the well-being that is innate to us. Our innately peaceful nature, unchanging and unruffled, is always feeling well, no matter what is going on. By the power of our peaceful nature, we will have leadership of every single moment within each day of our lives, and we will have the leadership at death that only our peaceful nature can provide. Unflappable equanimity. Most of us have the idea that war and peace are opposites, but war never jumped out of peace to become something other than peace. We've believed that negative states or negative circumstances like war have somehow separated out from peace and well-being, and we think that the negative states are in one place fighting against the well-being that's in another place. But the negative states are in fact inseparable from well-being. In short moments, we come to see that data, whether positive or negative, flow on by within our peaceful nature. They never jump out of our peaceful nature, and they are always nothing but our peaceful nature. It is extremely important to recognize this. The flow of data is to our peaceful nature like space is to space. Just as no part of space is different from another part of space, the flow of data and our peaceful nature are not two different things. Our negative states and our feelings of worthlessness, depression, the bleakest dark days, or our absolute joy, greatest achievements, and complete well-being all come from the same essence. There's nowhere to go. The only well-being there will ever be is right here, right now. Take it easy, keep it simple, relax, and know that by tapping into your own peaceful nature, you take a stand for world peace in a demonstrable way that guarantees your own peace at the very least. And there is no greater wealth in life than your own peace. The unflappable equanimity of our peaceful nature is imbued with the most powerful intelligence, the most powerful diplomatic skills, and the most powerful skillful means for taking care of any kind of situation. There can be intense anxiety, intense panic, intense physical pain, but it has never been separated out from total and complete peace. This is what we discover about ourselves.